on a lifelong quest to communicate better, both sending and receiving. Please help me welcome Mike Figurski with Communication is Hard.
Yeah.
Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw once said, "The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has happened." Have you ever felt that way after talking to someone or having an email exchange? You say something, you get a reply. Is that what I asked? So communication is more than just someone saying something and someone else receiving it, either oral or written. There's lots of things that affect it. Body language, pace, tone of voice, use of words. Hundreds of books have been written on the topic of communicating, how to do it better, what it is. And there's innumerable workshops and seminars on how to improve your communication skills. The topic of communication is so vast that there's no way I'm going to tackle it in a 5 to 7 minute speech. So I'm going to share a couple of the takeaways from doing this Understanding Your Communication Style project that I've done for this speech. First is that my communication style is similar to my leadership style. Probably not too big a surprise, but something that kind of came away with. Second, my preferred medium is not the one I'm using now. And third, that the follow-on career in financial services that I'm seeking, I will need to learn to use and well use the style that I'm weakest at and have not used well in my life. As I discussed in one of my recent speeches, eager to serve, reluctant to lead. My dominant leadership style tends towards the democratic. I don't seek the top job, but I make a good deputy. I hesitate to put my values and vision above others, but I can lead others to support the vision of our leader. And senior moment. I do like facts and figures, hard data, but leadership is oftentimes squishy. You have to take action before all the facts are in, so I rely a lot on consensus building. So it shouldn't be too surprising that of the 4 leadership styles discussed in this module, direct, initiating, supportive, and analytical, that the ones I gravitate towards are supporting and analytical. Supporting people are perceived as calm, careful, and patient. They like a relaxed, no-tension work environment and like time to make decisions. Analytical communicators are systematic and task-oriented, motivated by certainty and not easily express emotions. Just ask my wife. But like most tests and questionnaires that help you see your strengths or tendencies, these are not ironclad boundaries that I always operate within, nor are the 2 that I did not score points on ones that I never use or am not capable of doing. So while I'm not the confident, direct, and driven person that describes a direct communicator, I do like people to get to the point when they're communicating with me. That's one of the direct communicator tendencies. And I'm not a confident, gregarious person, but I do like to be around people and hear their stories. So, word of caution, don't let these tests define you. I know most of us don't, but it's just a kind of a guideline for where your strengths are and what you maybe need to work on. In addition to having communication styles that I'm stronger at and prefer, I have a communication medium that I prefer, and guess what? It's not public speaking. I know that I can speak in front of a group, doing it now, And I'm not afraid of it over death like many people say they are, but it's just not the medium that's I feel the most comfortable in. I like working in the safety of my computer, writing things up. I can go back, look at where have I come from, what have I said already, are these consistent? I like time to make decisions. I also, as I wrote the speech, typed it up, great. Two-page speech, lots of information in here. I don't want to leave anything out. But one of my biggest struggles with public speaking is I'm so concentrated on what I'm saying at the moment, I forget what's next. I get to that transition point and it's like, what's next? I can't remember, so I do this. Steve Allen told Bob Hope once when asked, why don't you do more work in motion pictures? He said, well, Bob, I have a face that was made for radio. In a similar manner, I feel I have a voice that was made for email. After 30 years of doing technical work in government programs, I am pursuing a follow-on career in financial services, being a financial coach and planner. I've enjoyed studying for the tests, for getting the licenses. I know the concepts, I can explain it to people, I can answer their questions, I can get the data, build a good plan. I know my stuff, technically, but I need to learn to tell a story so it conveys to the person what they're trying to achieve, that they can do it. Instead of saying things like, well, Jim and Mary, you need to save this much a month for this amount of time to get this number that I calculated to have a good retirement. You need to say things like, boy, when you're out of debt, you'll be able to save enough so that you're not only confident or comfortable in retirement, but you'll be able to bless your family and your community in ways someone in debt cannot do. Won't that feel great? So, not natural for me, but I think I can learn to do it. Changing decade-old communications style habits will not come easy, and I don't plan to scrap everything and do something totally different. It wouldn't be true to what I am, and it wouldn't be realistic to try to do. Rather, I'm working on adding some new tools to my toolbox, and with practice, I'll learn to use them properly and to become a more effective evaluator. And I'm glad I can practice those in the safety and comfort of the Pikes Peak Toastmasters Club. Mr.
Great speech about public speaking. And all I could think about when Mike said, you know, this isn't my preferred method of communication, and I think he said that more than once, was
important.
Not yet. Please take a moment and write a love note to Mike. Brian Freeze was still digging out this morning, so we have another substitution on the agenda. Greg will be evaluating Julie's speech, our third speaker this morning. Please let us know what Julie's speaking.
Thank you, Mr.